Hello, how are you? Thanks for being here. I'm Ana Merlino. Today, I'd like to express something that I believe somebody has to finally say out loud. Let's stop talking about feminine empowerment. Maybe you're thinking, what is this woman talking about? It took us so long and such a big effort to get to where we are. I agree. And having said that, I think it's time we approach this issue in a very different way. Perhaps in an easier, less resistant, less confrontative way. Where do we get the feeling from that we're not empowered enough or that we're not empowered entirely? Where? I think the first reason is that what some of us do is compare ourselves to men. Let's get this right. We are not the same as men. We're not men. And funny, we always compare ourselves to men by losing, by being in a worse place. We sometimes think we are weaker in a physical way or softer in an emotional way. But that is not true. We're very strong and resilient. I think you men, if you're watching this video, are wonderful. And we all together are creating this beautiful world of balance. There are a lot of men out there who are holding our space. Some are even more feminist than I am and are willing to take instructions from women, even if we aren't very clear about them. And there are other men who are new to these ideas of equality and are just learning in many ways, like we also are. Am I saying I agree with the old injustices and inequalities between men and women that still exist? No, of course not. We are all entitled to the same rights. But what I mean is, maybe we're not saying what we mean to say from the very best place. I think we're fighting from a place that will repel, not attract, what we're looking for. If we fight against something, what we get is a fight back. Fighting gets us nothing but more conflict. So, besides comparing ourselves to men, how else do we lose our empowerment as women? The second reason is, and this is a good one, as women, we compare ourselves constantly with other women. And we don't compare ourselves and see ourselves as just as worthy or just as unique and special. No, we tend to compare ourselves and feel bad. We lose. We compare ourselves and think we're not thin enough, we're not intelligent enough, we don't express ourselves as well as some other women do, and so on. My question to this is, why are we losing and wasting our time by comparing ourselves to other women? Why are we not simply acknowledging their beauty or intelligence or value and just admire it? Why not stretch ourselves to appreciate other women and thereby appreciate ourselves? Another way we lose or undermine our empowerment, and this is the third biggest reason, is that we stop comparing our outer self to our inner self. What do I mean by that? There is this voice that you know very well. Let's call it intuition. Let's call it your essence. Let's call it the tiny voice within that sometimes when you don't know what to do and you make a choice that isn't good for you, you hear this voice say, I told you that wasn't right. In those cases, when I wasn't listening to my inner voice, I actually knew the choice I was making wasn't good for me. I knew that the result I got would happen. And yet I plowed it ahead, not listening to my voice. This inner voice that knows more than our egos or fears is what we need to listen to more. I'll tell you how to do that in a minute, okay? We've talked about how we lose empowerment by comparing ourselves to men, to other women, and not comparing ourselves to our inner voice, the voice that is actually going to make things right. Now, how do we get this power back? Do we want to hear how to feel completely empowered in every single way, in every single day, in every single moment? Do we want that? I think we all want that. Men and women, we all want that. So both of us, men and women, let's listen to this carefully. So, the first thing I'd like to share with you is that you can change the way you express what you want. It's not so important what you say, but how you say it. When we use words like compete, disadvantage, inequality, or revenge, this will not attract what we want. It puts whomever we're addressing on the defensive. So let's put out there what we really want in our relationship with men, other women, and with ourselves. Let's stop talking about what we don't want and speak about what we really want. And I believe, and I really hope we agree on this, what we all really want is love. Let's get together and talk about what we really want. Whether relationships between men and women, men and men, women and women, let's talk about love. Because that will empower all of us so much. If we give love, what we'll get back is love. It's true. And it will happen for you too. So the first step then is not focusing on the what, but focusing on the how. And to speak about what we want, not about what we don't want. So the second step is stop comparing yourself to other women. Let's stop talking bad behind the backs of other women. That's gossip. Let's stop stabbing knives in the back of another because she had beautiful red high heels on and we're thinking, oh, this girl looks like a hooker or whatever. Let's stop being nasty and critical. Let's get together as women and share silk roads and honor ourselves and each other. Let's treat ourselves with love and see ourselves as colleagues, sisters, mothers, friends, cousins, etc. Let's stop looking at ourselves as competitors and enemies. We are not. We are essentially so similar. We want the same things. We want acceptance and love. And it's a beautiful thing when women get together and create this magical ancestral energy. This witchy little thing, also called intuition. When we get together in this spirit, it grows even bigger, more powerful. And that's what we want to do together, right? That's how we want to feel and to see each other. It's so powerful and makes us feel so connected and so beautiful. So why not do it? So now let's talk about the third step I'd like to share, and this is something you might not like to hear. It is not other women or other men that are holding us back from feeling empowered. It has nothing to do with that. It has to do with our own limiting thoughts. Let's look at a few historical examples like Coco Chanel, Mary Dixon Keys, Hedy Lamarr, Joan d'Arc, Virginia Woolf, Frida Kahlo, Mary Kay, Benazir Bhutto, J.K. Rowling, Esther Hicks, Michelle Obama, Oprah Winfrey, Shakira, Beyonce, Lady Gaga, Greta Thunberg, and many, many, many more. We've demonstrated that when it comes to empowered women, it's not just about intelligence or physical strength or physical beauty or how we move on stage or how we communicate. It is about what we think about ourselves. It is our own limiting thoughts that limit us. Stop thinking it is somebody else. It is you. Whatever limitations you believe you have, it is only you believing that. If this woman could and can do it, then so can you. They didn't have it easy. Most of them had it very tough to get where they did. And I'm not just talking about the famous, those who've become household names, but the countless millions of women who were pioneers in their fields. They opened the door for us. If they could, ladies, also can we, you see? Let's go to the fourth and last step. To get more empowered and break through your limits, there is a special thing you may want to do, and that is having dates with yourself. Why not? We have dates with other people. Why don't we have dates with ourselves and listen to that little inner voice called intuition? You can call it whatever you like, but you know what I'm talking about, right? This voice can make you feel expanded or contracted, depending on the situation. So this voice will let you know, in the language of feelings, if you're not on the right path. This voice guides you every day, although you may not be listening. This voice is happy when you're dancing and feel like no one else is watching you. This voice is so happy when you're playing, enjoying, when you take time to observe how the sun rises, when you take time to care of yourself by putting that hydrating cream all over your body, or enjoying a hot shower, or eating what you know is good for you. This little voice is always with you, always talking to you and wanting what's best for you. But you sometimes don't listen to it. You get too busy and distracted. And the further you get from listening, the more that fear and disempowerment moves in. I highly recommend you spend more time with that voice. I prefer to do it in the mornings, but any moment is good to tune into this essential and authentic part of yourself. The more time you spend listening, the more coherent you become with your inner voice. The more coherence there is between your inner and your outer self, the more empowered you will feel as a result, you see? So, dear women, I encourage you to take your time to be aware of how marvelous you are. What a miracle it is that you actually exist, and how many possibilities exist for you. I'm going to ask you to give yourself permission to believe in the following words, just for the moment. Let's feel into the wonder of ourselves. Let's only compare ourselves to our inner being and nothing else. May each of us allow our light to shine without self-limitations. May each of us attract what we really want by putting attention on what we want and not on what we don't want. And may we, all women and all men, support one another in feeling and being empowered. Thank you very much.